I used to think time would slow down when things mattered. I thought there would be a clear moment to speak. There wasn't. It just kept moving, and one day I noticed it was almost gone. I'm 79 years old, and there's something I wish someone told me sooner. I grew up believing that being quiet was the same as being kind. I learned early not to make trouble, not to say too much, not to ask for much. That stayed with me for most of my life. I remember one evening very clearly. I was in my 40s. I had come home late from work. The house was quiet except for the clock in the kitchen. My wife was sitting at the table. She had made dinner hours before. It was cold by then. She asked me how my day was. I said, fine. That was all. I sat down. I ate. I didn't look at her much. I was tired. I thought there would be another night to talk. There were many nights after that, but that one stayed with me. Years later, I realized that fine was not an answer. It was a way of staying distant. I thought I was keeping the peace. What I was really doing was keeping myself hidden. The lesson didn't come all at once. It came slowly, through silence, through moments that passed without being noticed. I learned that love doesn't stay strong on its own. It needs words, even simple ones, especially simple ones. If you're watching this in your 30s or 40s, hear this gently. Silence feels safe, but it costs more than you think. You don't feel the cost right away. You feel it years later, when the house is quiet for a different reason. I waited too long to say small things. I'm tired. I'm scared. I miss you. I thought big words mattered more. They don't. It's the small ones that disappear first. I'm telling you this now because you still have time. Not a lot of time, but enough. That night in the kitchen never left me. It followed me into other rooms, into other years, and it taught me something I wish I had learned earlier. The quiet didn't end there. It just changed shape. After that night, life kept moving. Children grew up, work slowed down, people left the house one by one. I told myself this was normal, that this was how life goes. I remember a Sunday afternoon years later. I must have been in my late 50s. My daughter came by with her kids. The house was loud for a while. Toys on the floor, voices overlapping, laughter I didn't fully step into. At one point she sat next to me. She looked tired. Older than I expected. She said something about feeling lost, about not knowing if she was doing things right. I listened. I nodded. I said, "You're doing fine." That was true, but it wasn't enough. What I didn't say stayed with me. I didn't tell her how often I had felt the same way, how unsure I had been at her age, how many nights I lay awake pretending I had answers. I thought she didn't need to hear that. I thought being strong meant staying solid and quiet. After she left, the house felt empty again. Not just quiet, empty. That was when I started to understand something. People don't come to you just to be reassured. Sometimes they come to be seen, to be met where they are. I had missed that moment. The lesson didn't arrive with noise. It arrived later, in the quiet evenings. When I replayed that conversation, when I realized she had offered me a door and I didn't walk through it. If you're watching this and you have people who still come to you, be careful. Moments like that don't announce themselves. They feel ordinary, but they aren't. I told myself I was protecting my children by staying calm, by not sharing too much. But what I was really doing was keeping distance, not on purpose, just by habit. Years pass faster than you expect. Children stop coming by as often. Phone calls get shorter. Everyone gets busy. And suddenly you realize those small chances were the chances. I don't blame myself the way I used to. I didn't know better then. But I wish I had noticed sooner. That's why I'm telling you this now. If you're in the middle of your life and someone opens up to you, don't rush to close the moment. Don't smooth it over too quickly. Stay with it a little longer. You still have time. I did too. I just didn't see it. The last lesson came later than the others. So late that I almost missed it. I was in my early 70s. The house was too quiet by then, not the kind of quiet that feels calm, the kind that presses on your chest. One morning I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of tea. The same table, different silence. I looked around and noticed how little was left that needed my attention. No one asking questions, no one waiting for answers, just time. That was when it hit me, not sharply, slowly, like something settling into place. I had spent most of my life thinking there would be a right moment, a clear sign, a later time when things would slow down enough for me to speak freely. That moment never came. Life doesn't stop and make space for honesty. You have to make that space yourself. I thought about the people I loved. Some were gone. Some were still here, but farther away. Not angry, not broken, just distant in the way time creates distance. I remembered conversations I avoided, feelings I kept neat and hidden, apologies I planned to give someday. I told myself I was being patient. What I was really being was afraid. The lesson was simple but heavy. Waiting feels harmless, but waiting takes something from you. It takes your voice. It takes your closeness. It takes moments that don't come back. If you're watching this and you still feel busy, that's a gift. It means people still need you. It means moments are still happening around you. Don't assume they will always be there. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because I believed time was on my side until it wasn't. I learned that regret isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It sits with you quietly, at tables like this one, in rooms where voices used to be. I still have days left, I know that, but I also know how many are already gone, and that changes the way you see things. That's why I'm telling you this now, not because I have all the answers, but because I finally understand the cost of staying silent, of waiting for later, of assuming there will always be another chance. You still have time, not endless time, but enough to speak, enough to listen, enough to stay a little longer in the moments that matter. I wish I had understood that sooner. I don't know how much time I have left. I don't say that with fear, just honesty. When you reach this age, days feel different. They feel smaller, but they also feel clearer. You start to see where you stayed quiet, where you waited, where you thought later would come. I used to believe life would ask me when I was ready. It never did. It just kept going. If you're watching this and you still wake up feeling rushed, that means something. It means people still expect things from you. It means moments are still forming around you. Don't sleepwalk through them the way I did. I'm not asking you to change your whole life. I didn't. I'm just asking you to notice. Notice the chances to speak. Notice when someone stays a little longer in a room. Notice the words you almost say. Those are the moments that stay with you later, not the big ones, the quiet ones. I waited for the right time. It never showed up. All I had were small moments I didn't take. If this made you pause, even for a few seconds, that's enough. You don't need to do anything big. Just don't assume there will always be another chance. I'm telling you this because I can't go back, but you still can.